Welcome back. We've been talking about this all year long. The Universal Tennis Rating here at Tennis Channel combines competition, score, and the big part, history, your last 30 matches within 12 months, and has given us a lot of insight into some matchups on tour between players that are ranked differently. As we welcome back Mark Leschly. Great to have you here on Tennis Channel Live.
Thanks,
CEO of Universal Tennis. And we spoke back in January. You predicted Young Chung to make that big rise and obviously got to the semifinals of the Australian Open. He's in the top 20 now. I mean, incredible stuff. Today, we're going to talk about some new partnerships that you've had with UTR. What can you tell us?
Yeah, so UTR powered by Oracle is all about trying to figure out how to make the game more fun and how to make it a better experience and more affordable. So in that vein, as we try to help people find those things, we're trying to roll out and partner with everybody. And this week, or last week, we announced 2 new partnerships, the USPTA as well as the PTR. These are 2 of the largest organizations in the world for teaching professionals as well as for coaches. They have some 31,000 professionals. And we're going to be providing free technology to all of those coaches and all those teaching professionals to enable them to be able to galvanize play in their local communities so they can get their players rated and they can create events and tournaments and clinics and leagues. So it's an exciting
What type
time.
of technology are you giving them?
So essentially, we have our rating system, but now we're going to roll out the ability for them to create draws, to create events, create tournaments. And on top of that, this morning, we actually announced another collaboration as well with a group called Love Sports out of Asia. So we're going to be rolling the UTR system into China. China is exploding in terms of tennis. And, it's the 3rd most watched sport in China. And so that's very exciting. We'll start bringing in sanctioned event tournament results from there as well. So we're proliferating broadly and expanding, and now in almost 50 nations now. So it's an exciting time.
It is universal tennis, so it should be international as well. I mean, this is global, Milky Way galaxy stuff. All right, let's talk about the clay court season, Mark.
Yeah.
Other than Rafa Nadal, let's get into UTR and your top players.
Yeah, so one of the things that we've done now, and we'll be providing rolling this week, is we take the data and we segment it out and now look at results based on clay only. And so that's very interesting because suddenly you can compare and contrast players on a specific surface. We obviously have Rafa. The other phenomenal player who's terrific on clay historically has been Thiem. And you'll see the listing there. So Dominic Thiem here. What's interesting about this list is you have sort of a combination. You got 3 Grand Slammers up there with Cilic, Nadal, and Djokovic. You got a couple of folks there that are sort of proven players and Goffin, and then you have some of these young guns like Young Chung and Zverev as well as Philippe in there. Philippe's actually an interesting one. He's got a very high clay UTR. He won 4 clay court tournaments last year in challengers and is competing very well. So I think what's obvious here, though, is also some of the people that are missing. I mean, one big one that jumps out here is Delpo. And I think Delpo is certainly somebody, coming off of the win at Indian Wells, coming into Miami, very comfortable on the clay. He's number 3 on the trending 3-month UTR. Okay. So that's going to be an interesting player to watch.
How about Diego Schwartzman?
Well, so Diego's a very interesting player. He's 10-1 on the surface already. He obviously did really well in Buenos Aires. He did really well on the Davis Cup as well. He's one to watch. Whether he can break through all the way up, we'll see. But he is a beast on the clay, the little giant from Argentina. So
12 in the UTR clay rankings, 15 on the ATP rankings, so moving up as well, but loves playing on the dirt. How about some Americans heading into the clay court season?
Yeah, I mean, it's actually been a phenomenal start to the year for the Americans, with Tiafoe winning and as well as obviously Stevie Johnson this weekend and Isner as well. It'll be interesting to see how that transitions into the clay. The Americans haven't quite been the elite on the clay. Stevie had a great win. It was a 250. Sam Querrey is number 1 for the Americans, but he's at 25 on the clay UTR. So we got the young guns coming here. We got Isner playing really well. So hopefully it'll be a breakthrough here in the coming weeks for the Americans.
All right, this was a really cool thing that you had recently because you have UTR events now, tournaments, and they're cash tournaments, and it pits players that just play in the same rating, correct?
Yeah.
And this one had a 10-year-old play a 57-year-old?
Yeah, so what's great about UTR is we put the technology out there, and it's really all about level-based play. It's not about age or gender. And so what you can do now is you can match people up based on ability. And what you have here are 2 individuals that played this weekend down at JTCC down in Maryland, actually home of Frances Tiafoe. And they had a wonderful tournament.
And so I believe this is match point, and it's the youngster who wins.
Yeah, this is Zen Dueling, and he's 10 years old. He's a fourth grader, and he played James, who is 57 years old. So 47 years in Denver. But the wonderful thing about this is it was a great match. It was a competitive match. And Zenny got to see some shots that he wouldn't see in the juniors, like a big serve and that slice you saw there.
Yeah.
And so both had a wonderful experience.
So what's it like to play a 10-year-old when you're nearly 60? Let's listen in.
It's a real thrill to play against a high-level athlete. Whether he's 10 years old or 70, it doesn't make a difference. An athlete's an athlete, and Zen here hits a huge ball, and he's got great foot speed. So he hit every drop shot back, I think, except for one. I was 1 for 9 with drop shots.
And you mentioned, Francis Tiafoe, Dennis Kudla. There's a lot of players that come out of the JTCC, College Park, Maryland. What do you know about Zen? 10-year-old, is he going to win a major in the future?
Well, he's an exciting young player. He's doing the right things early on. He's got a love of the game that's through the roof. So it's exciting when you see young bucks like that getting on a train. What's so wonderful about that segment is that he doesn't have to travel now on an airplane or anything else. He can go play a local tournament and get great competition. And that's exciting. That's the power of UTR.
You called him a young buck. He also got $100 for winning this. And for a 10-year-old, he's got a $100 bill now.
He did. The other thing about this tournament was that the local event organizer decided to make it a money tournament. And so the winner got $150 and the finalist got $100. And Zen went on to the finals, and he got $100. And that's the biggest smile I've ever seen on Zen's face, as he's holding up a big old C note. So it was exciting.
And in the final, he lost to somebody who was like 32?
Yeah, he lost to a gentleman who was 32. In the prior match, he had played a girl who was 14. So you can see it's across age and across gender, and it was just a wonderful event, and they're going to have one of these things every month, and they're going to pull people in.
That's cool. The power of UTR. Mark Leschly, as always, really appreciate you joining us here on Tennis Channel Live. Let's take a look at what's coming up tomorrow in Monte Carlo. Of course, we will have some UTR matchups here as well. Andrei Rublev taking on Dominic Thiem. That's the headline matchup, 5 a.m. Eastern, 2 a.m. Pacific on Tennis Channel. Luka Pouille, Misha Zverev. How about Grigor Dimitrov, his first match in Monte Carlo, and then Sasha Zverev as well, taking on Gilles Muller. Also available on Tennis Channel Plus. Go to bytcplus.com. Gilles Simon, the all-French battle against Manarino. Jeremy Chardy, another all-French affair against Gasquet. And then Tsitsipas, coming off that win today, he'll take on David Goffin. We'll be right back. Much more on Tennis Channel Live.